All right, good afternoon. It is 2:01 PM on Monday, October 21st, 2024. This is the Town Real Estate Assessment Committee. First item on the agenda, may I have an approval of the agenda as written? Approved. Motion made, is there a second? Motion made and second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from June 10th, 2024 and July 8th of 2024. Did anybody have any comments, questions? Do now, wait.
I don't think you have the, I don't think you have the July ones. You just have June.
July. So June, so anybody have, did everybody have a chance to read June 10th meetings?
Yes.
Okay, any comments, questions? All right, may I have a motion to approve the minutes from June 10th, 2024?
Second, first.
Motion made, is second.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, that's approved. We're going to table the election of the chairperson until we have a more robust board. Next item on, so we'll do that in either November or December. Next item is public comment. Seeing as there is only one member of the public here, and I believe he's going to be chatting on the next matter, I assume there is no public comment. So let's move on to real estate matters. Arthur, welcome. This is a review of the yard sale conveyance for a portion of 15 Ames Avenue. Tracy, do you want to start with this, or do you want to have Arthur take a look at this? Tell me how you want to.
I'm going to let Arthur talk, but Arthur, do you want me to share the screen at all? Do you want me to put up the GIS or anything?
Sure, that's a good idea, I think, Tracy.
Okay. Sure, I'm getting this right. Sorry, I'm going to do that. Okay. Can everybody see this?
Yep. Oh.
Okay, so Arthur's client is at 17, and the town owns these two sections at 15.
That's right. My clients, the Meinke's, own 17 Ames Avenue, and when they bought it, there was already in place an arrangement that had been worked out many years ago by the town to sell adjacent land to them, shown here to the south, as part of the yard sale program. There was a delay in the process as a result of the fact that one of the parcels had been conveyed to the town as part of what we sometimes call a Maybasket deed, conveying all kind, just whatever properties they had, subject to a restriction that they'd be held for conservation purposes, even though there was no conservation value particularly attached to any of them. And that necessitated legislation being passed by the legislature because of Article 97 in order to enable that restriction to be removed and for some more appropriate land to be subjected to the conservation requirement. And that was passed at this year's legislative session, enabling this transaction to be completed. We're dealing here with the with 15, as you see it here. The middle parcel. The parcel to the left of that, which is also shown as 15, will be conveyed to them later on. We have the issue of there being the taking of Ames Avenue, which needs to be done, which will take part of the existing Meinke property and part of the land to the south that would otherwise be conveyed to the Meinkes. And so in any event, this has been in the works for a long time. and has been, as I say, dependent upon the passing of the legislation. And that's all in place now, and we hope that it can be completed this week. As to the middle parcel, that is, with the other parcel, it's partially within Ames Avenue, being conveyed later on after the Ames Avenue taking is completed.
So, thank you, Arthur. So I'm thrilled that we finally made progress on this after however many years. So 15 Ames Avenue, let's just call it parcel map 60.2.4, parcel 29. That one's not quite ready because of the taking of Ames, because the order of taking of Ames Avenue, so we're gonna have to wait on that one. Is that right?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay, but in theory, we are ready to act on what would be parcel 27 and then parcel 25.
Right.
Well,
parcel 25, I believe the present plan is for that to be retained by the town and dedicated as for conservation purposes in connection
and
requirements.
And 25 is not going to be conveyed to your clients at any time in the future.
Right.
Okay.
So that's
well, I was gonna
part,
say,
John, that's part of the swap of the legislation. So we had to do
Yeah.
value for value.
there we go. Okay. Okay. I was gonna say 2 out of 3 ain't bad for getting these through, so that's pretty good. So I assume that we had an RFP for parcel 29, because I'm guessing it was either so old or we had such it was a large enough value. What was there an RFP for this?
I believe there was with the previous owner. Tracy, do you have the information on that?
I do. I don't have an actual copy of it, but Vicky does. It was an RFP for $8,000, and a deposit was paid. So within this sort of, when we swap and it's value for value, there's no consideration obviously there. So the
Right.
RFP is on these parcels.
When was that RFP done? It was
Oh.
previous owner.
Good question. A long time ago. Here, I was just gonna bring up this
I think
plan.
somewhere in the range of 10 years ago.
Yeah, for sure, it was at least 10, Arthur.
It's more. Okay.
I want to say it was, I thought it was 2012, but, I was just trying to share my screen for the other plan. So let's see if I can do that. Okay, so this is the taking and disposition, which
Yep.
is next on the agenda. So this yellow parcel here is the one we're talking about now, the conveyance parcel of 33 and 34. And then these two are essentially getting, so Mindkey has this now, we're essentially swapping in the next, that'll be probably next month or the month after.
Or the month there. And there's effectively the consideration is the swap.
Exactly. And the next part, so for this conveyance, it's going to be the
Right.
RFP, the 8,000. And then going forward, it's a swap.
So what would be the landlocked parcel? Okay. Okay.
Right. So the road, this would be the road layout. And Mindkey will have these two parcels here in yellow, and the town will have the blue.
Yeah, so this isn't, I'm sorry, Tracy. Just, I don't mean to butt in.
Yeah, please.
No, go ahead.
I'm
Please.
sorry, so. I'm not familiar with this one, like from any of my other. Volunteerism around here, which is confusing sometimes. They're not getting a buildable lot for $8,000. They're swapping a lot for another lot due to whatever the landlocked issue or whatever, but I wanna ask about Ames. What is that road or that little dotted line thing that's kind of like going around Ames Ave and ends up over on New Hampshire or whatever that is over there? Oh, no, on the other side of Ames. What is that? Is that going away? Is that something that is part, like a ghost street? What is that?
On the plan, it says it's an existing shell driveway. I'm not sure who
It is?
I'm not sure who it services. But they're saying it's
I'm familiar with this area, but I'm not familiar with
Wait, which one? The one
the,
below?
Arthur, do you know what he's talking about? It's this like dot, it's their driveway, I believe.
It
yeah,
is,
that
it
is
is
a
a
driveway,
driveway
goes
that runs
all
through
the way
there.
to it.
Yeah, it's a horseshoe.
Does?
Yeah, that's their driveway. It goes in and comes
I'm gonna
out.
go out and look at this. This is interesting. Okay, so when you say the taking of Ames, what are you referring to? Some of the layout, is it oversized or what are you
Here.
talking about?
Here.
That,
Well, I know
I'm
the
looking at
concept
this.
is that Ames
Oh, okay.
Avenue, as shown on this plan, is to be taken as a public way. It's been laid out in the past, but it's never been taken.
Okay, okay, I see what you're saying, Arthur. Sorry about that. I was thinking that we were disposing of some of it or something like that as part of this. Okay,
so,
Actually, the
and so,
taking of Ames Avenue will involve taking some of the existing Mine Key property, which has always been treated as being part of Ames Avenue, but they actually hold the title to it.
yeah, that's what so it's a cleanup situation.
It's for
Okay.
sure a cleanup.
I got it. No, I just need to, it doesn't take me much to figure it out. I just need a few things answered. Okay,
and so for what it's worth, I mean, I think my simple math here is that. Parcel 15 Ames Ave, which is map 60.2.4, parcel 27, the one that was the RFP for 8,000. I think that's a total of 4,000 square feet. I mean, if I'm looking correctly at the 2408 M plan, it's 80, basically 80 by 50. And
Okay.
I think that's. I think
I
that's
think you're
4,000.
probably right, John. I was trying to figure it out the other day because I wanted to put it on
Yeah.
there.
So that oddly, like. I mean, if we're $2 a square foot, that's oddly in the ballpark.
So I do have a price factor from Rob now. I didn't have it. And the price factor is $2.40 a square foot, so it's pretty close.
So it's pretty close. Okay. All right, so.
GIS has it registered as an assessed value of 1.1 million. Good for each one of those lots.
Good luck, GIS.
Just saying.
Good luck.
thought we were going underwater out there.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say that, Nat, that I did also have a coastal resilience assessment. And it is pretty wet over there.
Yeah.
so, okay, so, committee members, do you have any other comments, questions, or observations on these at this point?
I don't think we should, just go with whatever we have to do to make this.
I get it. So what exactly are we looking for today, knowing that we've got a conveyance that can't quite happen yet? One that is going to happen in a swap? What is the,
We're looking for a recommendation from REACT to convey lots 33 and 34, which is this middle section, which doesn't interfere with the other parts of the deal. And then, so that would be your vote, is to recommend the conveyance of those two lots.
of 33 and 34 under the terms of the RFP?
Exactly.
Or,
Yep.
all right,
And this
Go
is
ahead,
gonna
Matt.
be coming back.
I think
So in other
the
words,
other two have to.
When this gets explained, is this gonna be going to select board for approval, or is this just a continuing process behind the
is-
scenes?
This is
taking it to
a
the next-
three-step, it's going to be a three-step process. So, so on Wednesday night would be this conveyance of 33 and 34 on the 2408 M plan. Then
All right,
on just the next matter on your agenda is the taking of Ames Ave on this plan that I have up on the screen now. And that presumably will happen in the November meeting. And then,
Okay.
once we're through that, then we will do the swap.
Okay, the reason I'm asking, Tracy, is you probably already figured it out. The explanation of the stuff like this. Yes,
It's very
very-
difficult. That's why
So-
Arthur's on here.
Well, I mean, this is just part of how things
So-
are. You gotta just explain it without it becoming
So
confusing.
good question on that and great point. Is there any benefit to having all three of these go to the select board simultaneously? I mean, I don't think you're gonna have any
no,
issues with us.
Actually, I think it's better this way,
You think it's better?
except the
Yeah.
explanation part, and Tracy's good at it. Is explain, as long as all the ducks are in a row for the explanation, I'm fine. That's what I sort of meant. Like, it's like,
Okay.
this is part of X, Y,
Yeah,
Z.
yeah, and
And
you
all
ha-
of this
you have to show,
confusion.
if this is.
I
X, you
think
have to
that
show it Y and Z
The
is
one thing
also.
I will say, is that doing, town council and I had a long talk about this, like, so if we convey these two lots now, which we have a certificate of title in our name
Right.
for these 33 and 34, and then we convey these ones here, subject to the taking.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean? Like, so we do the
Yeah.
taking, then they're subject, it goes on that certificate and then carries over.
Right.
and
Puts teeth in it.
have you discussed that with the land court?
Oh. Is this registered land?
Oh, it's registered land.
Okay.
But we already have this certificate of title, John.
Okay. Well, so I think the sense that you're gonna get is that we're fine with this and whatever you think is the most sensible and logical approach to get to the conveyance works on our end, but it's sort of up to you on how you wanna get from A to B to C.
Yeah, I think she, yeah, I think she,
Yeah, I'm fine.
it's just, this is sort of like, has its own music.
Agreed.
It has to be understood.
Yeah.
That's all.
I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay,
So, all right, so, committee members, before we, make any recommendations on this, I guess the only other question is, everybody okay with the 8,000 for the RFP? It has been our policy for the RFP. I will just say this, the only difference is, and actually, Tracy, was the RFP assigned to the new owner?
Yes.
Yes.
Who was? Okay,
okay, so they're paying for it.
all right,
So that's fine.
then I think that's that, okay. All right, any other comments, questions, et cetera, from committee members? If not, can we have a motion to approve or recommend the conveyance of lots 33 and 34 and block 31 of land court plan 2408M to the owner of 17 Ames Avenue for the amount as described in the RFP, which is $8,000.
So moved.
Motion made. Is there a second? Second. Motion made and second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye. Okay, that carries unanimously.
Thank you.
So Tracy, I'm assuming then, do you want us to weigh in on the other two matters, or do you want to just continue those until they're ready for the select?
I believe the next matter on your agenda is this taking.
It is,
Of Ames.
it is.
Yeah.
So we want to do it all at once now, or?
I
Swap?
think, I don't know if the third thing is on there. Let me
The other one is lots 35 and 36. So it's
So that-
all.
It's all
All-
on the, yeah, so
Ames.
here's what I was thinking, because I have other matters coming up that we would, because this all tied together, we would do it all
Yeah.
together. And
Okay.
then, because I have other things that are gonna be on your React next month.
Okay, committee members, do you have any comments, questions, et cetera, on the order of taking for New Hampshire Ave, Mass Ave, California Ave?
No.
Okay. In that case, can we have a motion to recommend the order of taking by eminent domain for New Hampshire Ave, Massachusetts Ave, California Ave, prepared by Bracken Engineering, on Plan 2024-7.
So,
Motion made, is there a second? Second. Motion made, second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, that carries unanimously. And then I guess the last one is the reviewing and recommending the conveyance of the portion of Ames Avenue being lots 35 and 36 on block 31 on Land Court Plan 2408M. And in this one, we are not, the consideration is that we're swapping. Right?
Right,
Yeah.
which. So I guess we could handle this two different ways. We can do this matter and you can make a recommendation, or I suppose you could wait until, you know, later on. It's up to you, whatever you're comfortable with.
I think my thought was just personally, I'm still kind of new at this.
Yeah.
All right, is having stuff ahead of the next select board meeting, knowing when it's gonna be on their agenda, Tracy, is my concern as far as making sure that we're not, because we have one meeting a month and we don't always have a meeting.
And that's fine.
That's all I'm saying.
That's fine. I.
Whatever works best
I'm-
for the scheduling of these things is
For,
my thought.
for what it's worth, I think that if we make and recommend or approve some of these and they can be sort of sitting in a hopper
Yeah.
and waiting for the select board, that's probably
Better.
a better thing on our end. So, okay, with that in mind, can someone make a motion to recommend the conveyance of a portion of 15 Ames Avenue shown as lots 35 and 36 and block 31 on Land Court Plan 2408M to the owner of 17 Ames Avenue in exchange for land of equal value, being the rights in lots 31 and 32 in block 31 on Land Court Plan 2408M, and subject to the above reference taking that, or the reference taking that we just had for
Streets.
New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I second, I mean, so moved.
So moved. Is there a second? Beautiful, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, that passes unanimously as well. Well done. Onwards and upwards. Good luck with
Okay.
the land court.
Thank you.
All right, so that takes us to our next item on the agenda, which is discussing the September 25th presentation to the select board on the yard sale program.
Did everybody see it?
I unfortunately missed it, but I heard you did a wonderful job.
Well, thank you. I did get I got some feedback from it. Most of it was positive, lots of questions, lots of people coming out of the woodwork. But overall, I think it was good to educate people on what's going on, and that it's not just you know, we're not doing anything, or
Right.
we're just sitting in this backlog and there's no reason for it. So it clarified a lot of things. And I think it was helpful in the sense of getting the select board to understand, you know, sort of how my hands are tied in certain ways and what kind of money, even though I couldn't present the actual data, what kind of money
Yeah.
we have kind of hanging out there.
Yeah.
And so I am going to have a meeting with Mindy and Brian Turbot about tax title, which
Oh.
is a very controversial thing right now because there's new legislature and things like that. So we're going to try to isolate doable and not doable within the tax title list that we have, which should be really helpful, I think, for a lot of reasons. And that was sort of a outcome of the presentation, which was good. And then, you know, the land court versus the not land court and all of that. I think we've kind of got a process now where we could begin to move towards rewriting the procedures, which are very dated. So that's sort of where I'm at with it. So that's it. I just wanted to kind of get, if you guys had anything, you know, else to add to it, to the presentation. I was kind of under the gun, because, they asked me to do it on a Thursday for the Wednesday meeting. So, that's why it wasn't a PowerPoint, and I obviously don't have my database that I want so badly, so. They wanted hard numbers. It was very, very difficult there was just no
Yeah.
way to do that.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah.
I watched it, I listened to it, both.
Arthur, go ahead.
Yeah, I just, obviously I'm highly interested in anything along this line because I have, several file boxes full of, potential yard sale situations and those that are in various stages. And one point that I would make is that I think that there's going to be a major change ahead in the light of the new legislation that's going to enable withdrawal from land court registration
Yep.
as a matter of right in all cases. I'm expecting to be filing a large number of deregistration cases the day that opens up in February. And it's certainly all the matters that I have that are being held up in land court as a result of the procedures with regard to takings. We're going to be withdrawing.
Very
and
nicely said.
that would enable a large number of cases that have been on hold for a long time, of mine and other people, to be able to go forward and in a much simpler fashion, because we're not going to have to be dealing with the whole land court process. Now, what monkey wrenches the land court may try to throw into the procedure of all these withdrawals remains to be seen. You know, the reason that it, there's a 6-month delay in its implementation was a last-minute outcry from the land court that they needed time to deal with the situation. They need to develop procedures and forms and regulations and so on and so forth. Of course, exactly the kind of thing that we're trying to get away from by this legislation. But I'm hopeful that we're going to be able to have a lot more of these able to go through in a much more orderly fashion once we get that worked out.
Great. I think so too. I think that'll expedite things.
Are we in like sort of a closing statement part of our meeting before we adjourn? I
Well,
want to ask a question to Tracy that with Arthur on here.
well,
He's
I
the
have,
land-
I have some other business too that I
That's
want.
Oh, okay, I
We'll
wasn't
talk about
sure.
the business,
or-
but I think we could all get this
Yeah.
in under other business, but Tracy,
Okay,
why
got
don't
it.
you start,
Go ahead.
why don't you start into other business?
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen again. As you know, from my presentation, I kind of laid out guidelines for people of what the process is going to be. And in our past meetings, we've talked about this coordinated review process where before they submit the warrant article, they kind of come to us ahead. I had a homeowner reach out in August about 11 Ipswich and eliminating, this is North Ave here. And they are asking to start the process to eliminate North Ave in this section. I'm going to stop sharing for a second and present the aerial. I have the aerial view of it. So here's the area. Well, this is 11 Ipswich here. Did it go up? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Here we go. Okay, so this is 11 Ipswich here. So essentially their driveway and their boat is in North Ave.
Right, can you, north, left side of the screen, okay.
Oh, all right, hold on. I have this just as a saved document, so let me try again here. See if we can get. So further up, North Ave was taken. I didn't even look yet to see what's been conveyed there. If anything.
I'd be surprised if anything's been conveyed.
I would too, because of the land court.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be registered, good. Kidding.
Yeah, that area.
Okay, so now I'm
This is
gonna
just
go.
very Tackle.
Yep.
Similar to Surfside, like gigantic lots.
Yep.
With very little ground cover, you know.
Yep.
A lot of roads that don't need to be there, some that do, some
Yep.
won't.
Tom Nevers West.
Yeah.
Can you see the aerial yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
We got it.
Yeah, yeah, I mean,
okay.
it's, I get it. I know there are a couple of people interested in a number of ways out here in Tom Nevers.
Right, so if you come over here, you know. I don't know how far down, so the section that was taken before is way over here.
Yep.
And like I said, I don't think any of that's been conveyed yet.
It has not.
There's a few of them.
And you have, like, this is really, has always just been, you know,
Yep.
deciduous in here. So I just wanted to bring it up. They want to, you know, I've told them they're gonna have to do a warrant article. And so, you know, I don't want to recommend they go forward with the warrant article until we do what we were saying, which is the coordinated review, so.
Yeah.
I thought that since we were doing this, we could quickly kind of take a look at it. You don't have to necessarily vote today if you don't want to, but I just thought we'd take a look.
I think my response to this is, I'm looking at that like we looked at Surfside years ago, where this all started in Monomoy.
Yep.
Roads that I never even heard of. You know, some pieces are used, like Uncantina Street,
Yep.
things like that, but others aren't. Now, of course, a lot of it was based on not wanting more A&Rs available in some areas, depending upon the land. And Surfside, Tracy, you know, the small zoning, you know, anyone can open a street, but out here it's different because the lots are big. This is on the side of the west side where there's some of those 4-acre crazy ones out there. There's about, what, 12 of those or so roughly? Of those lots that are over 3 acres?
Oh,
But there's
yeah,
a
we
lot-
got this big one here, see?
Yeah, and
Oh.
I think that this is a good project area to look at what crossroads are needed. As John just said, so Norwood Street starts at Tom Nevers Road and then it sort of goes nowhere. And then all of a sudden
Right,
comes out on the other end like Eel Point does. and,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's a lot of that. But this part of the island hasn't been looked at in this discussion from yard sale stuff since this all started. This has been left,
Not from a global,
right,
not.
Just
not from
little
a
bits and
neighborhood
pieces.
perspective. Exactly.
and I think we
Yep.
should be looking at it as, you know, holistically a little bit.
I agree.
Helping people individually, but also at the same time, having it already figured out ahead of time.
I agree.
For public, you know, public access to where is different here than it is in Surfside, you know, everybody in Monomoy. But there may be other reasons, there may be footpaths, there may be conservation or land bank property that needs to have you know, a look as far as connectivity, but at the same time, I think that some of these lots that would benefit Tracy, some of the undersized ones that are in that crazy 1,500 limit. You know,
Yeah.
you've got a whole mix of stuff out here. You got the 10,000s, you got the
I know.
50s, you got the 120s, kinda, and then you got the 4 and 5 acre lots you could land an airplane in.
Right.
Like, it's unbelievable, and so helping people that already have a gigantic lot, I mean, whatever, right? But helping people that have
Yeah.
limited amount of ground cover, and at the same time, especially year-round people that, there's a lot of year-round people out
Agreed.
here. So it's
Absolutely.
kind of a mix,
West, yeah,
and this
I'm
is,
with you.
I think this is a good. Sort of, I don't mean to make more work for you, Tracy, that's not what I'm saying whatsoever, but I think Arthur's point. About the land court thing changes the whole perspective now,
I agree.
so.
Well, and I
I-
agree too. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up, you know, because it's going to be one of the first ones that we kind of can look at this way, from the start versus dealing with a backlog list that is kind of,
Yeah.
you know,
I
already in
see,
process.
you just said that's exactly right, we're looking at it with experience instead of. This is our first day at work, you know,
I agree.
wow, I like this, I mean, I don't know what you want for a recommendation. But I think that,
You don't necessarily have to
wanna-
decide today. I
Yeah.
can come
Situation.
back again, you know.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm not ready for a
No.
recommendation. Unfortunately,
but,
I think the real catch is that I would love for this person to file a warrant article. I encourage them to do so. However, I'd also say, hey, maybe you want to take a step back.
Yeah.
And let, you know, we as a committee and as a town need to look at this. You brought this to our attention. We want you to have this. But we also have a bigger issue with sort of the neighborhood of Tom Nevers
Yes.
West.
Yeah.
How you're not the only one affected by this, and we need to figure out, we want to do this on a more holistic
Yeah.
scale.
So
Yeah.
so I agree. One of the things I did tell them is they're in a very tight timeline. Also, if they were going to submit a warrant article.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
might be premature,
Yeah, I agree.
it's,
They're gonna have
it
to
is,
create-
so then they're another year out. I guess what I would be looking for is if you want me to do some due diligence and bring it forth at another meeting. What-
Yes,
And-
Ye-
and
go ahead now.
I
I think we're
completely-
on the same page, but go ahead.
Tracy's right on it, and also. Bring it forward for another meeting, but. Butters.
Yep.
Okay, think of this, Tracy, as a brand new. Idea that's old.
Yeah.
Okay, how many people have changed ownership out there since all this started? Roads that we don't want opened. Or they don't want open, I mean, you know, that aren't gonna benefit anyone. Other than, think of it as like a driveway instead of an actual 40-foot road, are these roads 40 feet, what are they? I don't even know what the layout of these roads are. Are they?
I
mixed?
did look at I have the land court plan.
Yeah. I'm just, I don't mean to get you to have to answer that, I'm just saying that affects it, obviously, how much land is actually in these roads, you know? But this is something, I don't wanna go as far as to say needs to be a larger discussion in Tom Nevers, but it could end up being that if. You know, I want it to start off on the right foot, this isn't. Trying to make more buildable land and all that kind of stuff, that's not what this is about cleaning up dirt that's. Not. That's usable, but it's not usable, and it has no use. For a
Yeah.
road purpose, you know, it'll actually help. The clean up some of that stuff out there. So,
Yeah, I guess my thing too is, it is land court, so currently. Like what, could deregister and can they then claim to the midline? I don't know. That's
Yeah.
really where Arthur's comments
Yeah,
get
it's
in.
gonna be very interesting, yeah.
and then you get into walking trail stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you
Oh,
do
yeah.
15 and 15 and leave 10, all that kind of stuff, so, you know. I think it does need to be looked at. Holistically and then individually, kind of at the same time, you know, so. Anyway.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
love this,
I agree.
this
No,
is good, this is the
progress.
kind of thing that needs to happen, I
Agreed.
mean, it's not like. I mean, we're dealing with stuff that's 140 years old, 120 years old, that. Was worth $2,
Maybe,
50, even 50 years ago.
Maybe.
Forget about 100.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So it's the right thing to do. It's just a question of, this is sort of brand new out here.
I agree.
This conversation came up. Isn't there a street called like Cumberland Ave or something
Yep.
out there that goes across the long way?
Yep.
This has come up in planning board stuff. I
Sure.
just don't remember when. It's been a long time. And I never even heard of that, right? And it's like, so this is a good conversation.
Yeah,
So-
no, I think it's very good.
So
Okay.
anyway, Tracy, whatever you have, I just wanna ask a different question related to this. About the deregistering stuff or whatever.
Now, why don't you ask that question?
Alright, so Tracy. I can't help myself but talk about. The stuff that everyone sees every day that is like never ever gonna get fixed in our lifetime. So. Does the deregistering. Ability help the town. With. Moving utility poles. With getting easements easier. Making a deal, depending upon what the situation is, each one is different.
So-
I'm just looking at, I don't know if the town, most of the land in town is registered, I know the roads are all variable width, and that's the problem.
Go for it, Tracy, then I'll opine as well. But go
So I'm
ahead.
gonna tell you just, I'm gonna give you a really easy example now. So
Okay.
Tom Nevers is all registered land.
too.
And we all own the road, right? It's county layout for Tom Nevers Road. And I'm working with Mike Burns for the bike path. And I saw a plan the other day of how many utility poles are down that 2-mile stretch. That the cost to move each pole, I forget what the amount was, but just even considering moving the poles and without even considering the easement taking was it's not even to move one pole. So I think the bigger question on the utility pole question is the cost to do it than the actual deregistering and land court part of it, and gaining an easement. But
What was the cost?
I forget. Oh my God. It was like, I want to say it was something like, over 100,000 a pole.
Yeah. And this is, I'm so glad you said that example, because that wasn't what I was thinking about, but now you've changed my sort of conversation. When people say, we've been paying to put them underground for years, forget it. Let's just try to move them a couple feet instead to make it seem
So
easier.
one of the things, I mean,
Not to
like
argue.
when I'm in these things and I think to myself, oh, I never thought I would know this ever. One of the big discussions was guy wires versus no guy wires. Some of the poles have guy wires, some don't.
And
Anyways.
they have to have an easement for the Deadman thing with the cable, which I found that out with the Hummock,
Crazy.
Milk Street Extension. Thing,
Yeah,
bike path thing, and found out when they had to move a couple poles. Even though the land is just, like nobody would even know if they did it in the middle of the night. You never know it was done, but yet it's this massive deal to get this stuff done. So when people say underground, I just kind of laugh at them and say, that's never, ever, ever gonna happen. We can't move a pole a couple feet. How are we gonna put everything underground?
So my sense is that the deregistration,
I thought it might help us, that's all.
yes, however, I think there is about 5 other layers of bureaucratic red tape to go through for any of this. And the land court is just one additional layer on top of that. So yeah, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, it's going to help, but it's not going to help as much as it will for, say, yard sale. Yard sale conveyances. If that's my 2 cents. All right, Tracy, anything else under other business?
one other thing, we had talked about bringing Rob Rainey in for a future meeting to discuss
Oh,
an increase on price factor or not. He told me that the last increase was 2019-2020. He'd be happy to come to a meeting. So I was thinking about doing that and putting him on a future meeting so we could have, address whether we want to change the price factor or change any criteria within it. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. All right, anybody else have any other business? If not, may I please have a motion to adjourn at 2:47?
So moves. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned.
Tracy, thank you for.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy.
Fantastic.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jesse. Jesse was on there.
Yep. Okay.
All right.